right, good morning, everyone. Happy Friday. I hope that your quiz went really well yesterday. So far, the scores are looking excellent. So, congratulations on that one. Today, we are going to be starting energy resources, and that's going to be on 15.3. Um, there's two different kinds of energy resources, and that's going to be non-renewable energy resources and renewable energy resources. And clearly the first one that we're going to start with is going to be non-renewable resources. So these exist in limited quantities, and once you use them, they cannot be replaced except for over the course of millions of years. So what is kind of bad about these is that once we use them, it takes a long time to replace them. Well, the examples of these would be like your oil, your natural gas, coal, and uranium. So such resources are being used way quicker than what we can replace them. So the concern is that we're going to use them all up and then we won't be able to replace them. Fossil fuels, the example of your fossil fuels are going to be oil, natural gas, and coal. And these are going to be formed from underground. It's going to be formed from remains of once living organisms. Fossil fuels are used for the great majority of the world's energy. But the thing with these, they're not all located in one area. They're kind of spaced out throughout the world. For example, in the US, we have 2% of the oil supplies and 25% of the coal supplies. Where you're going to find the majority of your oil supplies is going to be over in the Middle East. So they're very scarce. Renewable energy resources is going to be another example of energy resources, and these resources can be replaced in a very short amount of time. They come directly or indirectly from our sun. So we have hydroelectric, solar, geothermal, wind, biomass, and soon, hopefully, nuclear fusion. I'm going to try to move this video up here so you can see the diagram and it's not in the way. Renewable and non-renewable, some advantages of them and some disadvantage. Let's look at renewable. They don't run out, so you can replace them quickly. Remember, a disadvantage of non-renewable is that once they are used, it takes a very long time for them to, I'm going to move that over there, for them to be replaced. So that would be a disadvantage for non-renewable. Renewable is that they don't run out. You can quickly replace them. Example for renewable, does not pollute the environment, and you can save money long term. Yes, it's expensive in the beginning, but over a long term, it's going to save you money. Some disadvantages, as I said, is the expense kind of upfront. You pay a lot more money for it, but at the end, it will save you some money. Not easily accessible in all places. And we'll talk about that when we look at each individual ones. And there might be some environmental concerns, but pollution is not one of those concerns. Non-renewable advantages are they're relatively cheap upfront. So they're cheap, but remember, they're hard to be replaced. And that's why we see that the non-renewable energy resources are being used quickly and can't be replaced. They're easy accessible because they come basically from the ground. They pollute our environment though, so that is a huge disadvantage. They're not replaceable once used. It takes a very long time to replace them, and they cost a lot over time. So going back to renewable, you can see that up front, it costs a lot of money, but then you start to save money as time goes on. Not with non-renewable, they're going to cost you a lot over the complete time. All right, so the next thing that we are going to do is we're going to go into each of the different areas of the renewable energy resources. So the first one we're going to talk about is hydroelectric energy, and this is energy obtained from flowing water. And an example of this would be the Hoover Dam. So the water flows downhill. It goes from potential energy, and then as it falls, it turns into kinetic energy. Well, that kinetic energy can be converted into electric energy by using generators. And we use these dams, or sometimes you can even use like just the regular flow of a river. But the dams, what you can do is you can block it off, and it causes all that water to gain potential energy, and then when you release it, you have a huge flow of kinetic energy, and then once again it gets transferred into electric energy. Advantage of this, I am sorry, hold on, let me move this down. Oh, okay. Advantage of this, it's low cost because it's natural. We have dams that are naturally occurring. The disadvantage would be it's bad for the environment. Well, how can this be bad for the environment? What happens is that it prevents fish from moving upriver to spawn, and what that means is to lay their eggs. So with these dams, the fish can't move up the river, and it causes the fish not to be able to lay their eggs. So that's where it could be bad for the environment. The next one is solar energy, and this is sunlight that is converted into usable energy. And there's two types of solar energy. There's passive and then there's active. Passive is used without machinery, so that could be like your windows let light into it, and then it goes into the walls and heats up the insulation of the wall, and you get that thermal effect. And then active is use of machinery. An example of that could be your solar panels. Advantage of this, it's non-polluting, it's coming from the sun. And then the disadvantage could be the climate. And when I say that is because if you have a really cloudy day, you're not going to be able to get a lot of that sun, which could decrease the amount of solar energy that you get for that day. Geothermal energy is thermal energy beneath the Earth's surface. So what happens if these are areas right by volcanoes, and then the water is pumped down into the ground and it becomes steam, and then that steam is used to drive generators that can convert it into energy. Advantage of this, once again, it's non-polluting. Disadvantage, it's really hard to find. So not everywhere in the world has volcanoes. So it has to be in an area that is very close to a volcano. Biomass energy is the chemical energy stored in living things. It can be converted into thermal energy. So burning wood to heat homes. Remember that we said that we have chemical bonds. Well, in order for the sun comes down to plants, there's electromagnetic energy from the light of the sun goes into the wood, so it goes from electromagnetic to chemical, and then when that wood burns, it heats the home because you're getting that thermal effect of it. Then we have hydrogen fuel cells. It generates electricity by reacting hydrogen with oxygen and converts energy from renewable resources. So hydrogen fuel can be extracted from water using electricity from the solar cells. This one is not used as much, but it's the end products of fuel cells and water, so it's non-polluting, meaning for transporting energy. So a great thing about this, it's non-polluting to our environment. All right, conserving energy resources. So, energy conservation is finding ways to use less energy and use it more efficient. So we can help this by making energy saving decisions. Turning off your lights. If your lights are not on, you're not using energy. Transportation. Instead of all these cars being out on the road, which causes pollution, maybe taking mass transportation, like riding the bus into the city, or carpooling with someone, or riding your bike, or walking if it's just a short distance. Light bulbs. So they've came out with light bulbs that give off the same amount of light, but using smaller amount of energy. And then fuel efficient cars, we can see that they're starting to come out. So just being kind of cautious about what you are using your energy resources for. I know that this is a very small section, in this chapter. If you have any questions, just let me know. Make sure you copy all these notes, and this will be your assignment for today. If you have any questions, let me know. Miss you guys. Happy Friday.